Welcome to the Spotlight Omaha podcast. Here is your host, Jimmy Allen.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome inside the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on our community today. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your brand online. If your business could help with any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com today. Joining me inside the Pyramid Contractor Studios, Casey Walker with Max I. Walker. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Jim.
I believe this is episode number 304, and I could be wrong. I believe you're the first brother of a former guest to join us. So
I am.
I appreciate that. Listen, Max I. Walker, it's no secret. You guys have been a staple in the Omaha community for over 100 years. Why has Max I. Walker been so successful over that 100 years?
It's something to get to 5 generations in a family business that very rarely happens. And we talk about it internally in the Walker family a lot, of how we got here. And no doubt there's some luck involved, some divine intervention maybe.
Always is though, right? I mean, with any kind of business.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to the way that we treat our employees, the way we handle our customers, our dedication to customer service, and just doing things the right way every day, and staying the course. We're really proud to make it this far, and we just try and keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, KISS, right? Listen, I think it's one thing to stay in business for over 100 years, and that's incredible in its own right. You guys have grown along the way and been able to maintain that. You guys have brick and mortars all throughout the city of Omaha. How difficult is it for you or for the family business to be able to not only grow, expand, be successful, but hand it off to people and hire employees that aren't necessarily within the family and give it off to them and trust them to keep the brand with the reputation it has?
Yeah. Well, we're really big believers in growing people. Our industry, or any service industry for that matter, is about people. And so, I don't look at myself as the smartest guy. I just need to find the smart people and treat them well and help them grow and help them find their niche within our company to make us all better. It's pretty special that we've been able to do that over generations, because a lot of times, my grandfather tutored my mentor, and my father has grown people that are now at some point in time were my bosses or that I work with together, and my brother Chris and I now kind of building our team, and the mesh of that over 100 years is pretty special.
For anybody that may be living under a rock and doesn't know what Max I. Walker is, can you explain what you guys do? Because there's a unique approach that I think a lot of people don't know that you guys do at Max I. Walker as well.
So over the course of 100 years, you have to diversify. We like to say, if you can get it dirty, we can get it clean. So
I like that.
The Max I. Walker name brings out dry cleaning. We've been a dry cleaner for 108 years. My great-great-grandfather started that business. And as dry cleaning has gone through 108 years, there's been ups and downs. The 1970s brought about polyester leisure suits and that kind of thing.
Miss those at all?
No, not at all. From a style standpoint, and also from a dry cleaning standpoint, because those were getting washed in washers.
Yeah.
So we got nervous, and my grandfather had the foresight to start a uniform rental division of our company. So uniform rental. Name brands you would know would be like a Cintas company.
Right.
So uniforms for light food manufacturing, food processing, car dealerships, automotive, and all of the ancillary products that go along with that. So we take care of bathrooms, toilet paper, soap, the rugs that you walk over, the mops you use to clean your floors. And my father, the third generation, kind of took that business and grew it exponentially to where now we're in 3 states. We go as far as South Dakota and all over Iowa, Des Moines, and down to the Missouri border. So that's something that we're really proud of and continuing to grow and improve on.
When you have the reputation that Max I. Walker does for dry cleaning, and it's for a lot of people, the first thing that people think of in Omaha when you think of dry cleaning. Congratulations on that, by the way. But how difficult is it to navigate the waters of, we also do have this other option and we want to be known for this other thing, without kind of muddying the waters on the reputation you've already built over 100 years?
Right. It's difficult, to your point, but there's a common thread that I think ties in nicely to both sides of our business, which is the customer comes first.
Sure.
We like to think that we're the best at customer service in anything we're going to do because that's our primary focus. It's the root of what we're doing every day is to provide excellent customer service. We're not always the cheapest in dry cleaning or in uniforms, but we're going to get the job done no matter what it takes. And so that common thread of if we can take care of your suit, we can certainly take care of the mat that you walk over.
Sure, yeah. One's easier to clean than the other.
Correct.
When you talk about growth, you mentioned it 3 different states. Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, correct?
South Dakota.
South Dakota, excuse me. Why was South Dakota the right way to reach? Why going north was the best option? And what does growth look like over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. The uniform industry is interesting, right? So there's a lot of independent companies. Basically, all uniform companies started off as dry cleaners, ironically enough. So we're kind of following a trend. What makes us unique is that we're still in business. A lot of family-owned uniform companies have sold out because the business is worth a lot of money, both to Wall Street and to the Fortune 500 companies that are uniform companies.
Right.
And what makes us unique is that we're still in business and we're still growing, and we don't have any intention to sell. So that dictates our territory a little bit. We have friends in Kansas City, for example. So we don't want to go south and take customers away from our friends. We share.
Tough to navigate the two, and
tough.
You got to play nice, but you also got to make a buck too, right?
We got to make a buck, and so the long and short of it is South Dakota is a wonderful area of growth.
Absolutely,
they have wonderful taxes. For spurring growth of businesses there. And so that makes it attractive for us who are trying to, provide uniform services to businesses. And it had been an untouched market by local players such as ourselves, independent companies, who provide a much higher level of service. And so we try and look for areas that are underserved from a customer service standpoint and go in and fix people's problems. South Dakota just happened to be the place to go. I think moving forward, western Kansas, farther into western Nebraska is probably going to be more area of growth for us, as well as Iowa. The trick with Iowa is that there are good local providers in Iowa still, which is great for the market. If you're getting uniforms in Des Moines, for example, you have a lot of good options to choose from. There's places west of Des Moines that don't, and so those are the areas we target.
When we talk about what growth is going to look like in Omaha, we're seeing the growth of Gretna explode. Elkhorn's going through a revamp page. It feels like a ton of money is being dumped into South and North Omaha right now. Is it as simple as we've been here for long enough so we don't need to grow in this area, or is that something that's always a discussion?
No. If you turn your back on the people that brought you to the dance, you're going to lose. So we focus in Omaha the same we've always focused in Omaha. There's a lot of business. Omaha's a great market. We're thankful to have the Omaha community and economy as thriving as it is, especially during downturns. We have industry peers across the country in both dry cleaning and uniforms that when things aren't going well, their markets really feel that. Omaha's an insulated market from a lot of those external factors, which is wonderful for us and wonderful for the people that live here. But we're continuing to grow in Gretna. We're going to open a dry cleaning location in Gretna. And so we want to continue to be in Omaha. This is our community. This is where we live. This is where we raise our families. So we can grow and get farther and farther from home. But at the end of the day, Omaha is our market and a primary focus of ours.
I want to talk about that, man. We're catching up with Casey Walker from Max Walker on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. Your great-great-great-grandfather's name's on the building.
Yeah.
You mentioned your father and your grandfather had it before you. Your name's on the building. You're doing business in the city that you grew up in, the town that you call home. Why is that a big deal for you?
For me, I didn't necessarily even want to be in the family business. It had never really occurred to me. I was on track to go to law school. That's what I wanted to do. The older I got, the more I felt an obligation to my great-great-grandfather and my great-grandfather and the opportunity that they afforded me, and to take pride in the fact that my name is on all those buildings and all those trucks. And that
Could you appreciate that at a young age?
it's hard to appreciate at a young
'cause
age.
we had been at Chesterman for Chesterman Coca-Cola a couple months ago, and that's kind of what he talked about. It was almost like a resentment when he was younger because he wanted to build his own legacy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think with age, you kind of start to go through your parents and your grandparents' experience. And you go, "Oh, this is why they were able to do this."
Correct. You don't really formalize that until much later.
Yeah.
And even when I decided to come into the family business, I wasn't there yet. It was
It'd be weird
engaged.
if you were, right?
No, I was engaging with our staff. I had to prove that it wasn't nepotism for the reason I was here.
Big deal for you?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Really was. But in that came wonderful relationships and understanding and appreciation for all the family members who had done it before me, and a really, really strong desire to build upon what they had built and do it the right way, the way that they had done it. And that's what the previous generations of not just my family, but of lifelong employees of Max I. Walker. Our tenure is 20, 30, 40 years. I had a meeting in an office this morning with a guy who's worked for us for 65 years. He's 94 years old. He's still on the payroll.
What's his name?
Roy Lovely.
Shout out to Roy Lovely.
Shout out to Roy Lovely.
I'm sure he's watching this on his Facebook.
Without a guy like Roy to tell me about how my great grandpa would have done it,
Right.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't
been
have
lost,
known.
right?
I would have been lost.
I want to ask because I can't help but hear when you're telling everything you just said. Feels like you're echoing a conversation maybe you've had in the past. Is that fair to say?
I have this converation at the mirror almost every morning.
Who was your biggest influence on making sure that you do things the way the company's always done it?
I can hold a couple different things. I think from a how we should treat people,
Sure.
how we should go about our business. My father instilled that in me from the time I was 5 years old. And when I wake up and go to work every day, if he's not there, I can hear what he's saying to me in the back of my head. He's my guiding light, my kind of conscience.
You said
right?
that with a big smile on your face.
I love him.
Yeah,
working with your family is not easy.
No, it's not.
And
most businesses will tell you not to do it.
right.
Yeah.
And my father's a gem to work with. He really is. So I appreciate that. But there have been multiple people who have influenced me in different ways. Fonda Curitin, been with us for 40 years. Taught me everything I know about getting stains out. I can do anything in the back of a dry cleaning plant.
Sure.
If you came in with something wrong, I'd be able to fix it and press and iron and sew on a button and do all those kind of things. She took the time to teach that to me. I appreciate that.
For anybody that saw me at the state championship game in my suit, you guys got the stain out of my left lapel. So
Wonderful. I love to hear
appreciate that.
And Roy's taught me how my great grandpa would have approached a situation with humans or a customer service issue, what have you. Keith Rawl, who's my mentor. And he's taught me more than an MBA program would ever tell
Life
you.
experiences.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when I go to bed at night, I'm where I'm at because of Keith Rawl, I would say.
It's an interesting conversation to have because social media is grown to the monster that it is. Marketing has grown to the monster that it is. And there's more people on the planet than there ever was before. So there's more influences and more ideas, right? When we talk about growth, and it feels like everybody is beating their head against this wall of progression and saying it's got to be changed, and you have to change the way you do things. And you're standing here saying we've been successful for 100 years. Why change now? Why is that such a big deal for you?
You can improve your systems and you can adapt to the customer. And on the dry cleaning side, we can text you with an automated system at night and say, hey, do you want us to come by and pick up your stuff tomorrow morning? We'll be in your neighborhood. That stuff's great. That's awesome for growth. But it doesn't change the fact that the header for anything we do is to not change who we are as an organization. Sure. The culture has to stay the same. And it's a culture of customer service, taking care of each other, and a collaborative team. And so when we bring people in to help us grow, Steph Dorland, our marketing director, is phenomenal. She could come in here and talk all day about everything. We have the #1 SEO for how a uniform rental program works when you search on Google as a local company with 128 employees. And we're outperforming, Fortune 500 companies in that space.
Why do you think that is?
I think we found really good people. Okay. I think that we created an environment where people want to work. We want to win. We want to win every day. We want to do it together. Okay. And that kind of competitive spirit, that's also empowering. I couldn't tell you how Steph accomplished that.
Sure.
I just know that Steph's a lot smarter than I am, and that she should have the keys to the car. With some very defined guardrails as far as a marketing budget can get out of hand.
Yeah.
But of how we engage with our customer, and if you try and be a part of every little thing, you'll never grow.
You'll never have an identity.
Right. But my job is to be the brand ambassador,
Sure.
Not just to the customers, but to our employees. This is why we're here. This is why we put on our uniform today, and here's how we're going to do it together.
I want to talk about the uniform versus the dry cleaning portion of the business. We just talked about identity, and we talked a lot about that here for the first 15 minutes. But how difficult is it for Maxi Walker, the brand, to do both?
It is difficult.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, there's not a crazy amount of overlap between the company.
Right? Yeah.
Right. But at a higher level of the management side of things, we all play in both spaces. I started off almost exclusively in the dry cleaning part of our business and have moved over into the uniform and am carrying both. My older brother started off on the uniform and is wonderful and helpful on the dry cleaning side.
He pay you to say that? No. Okay.
If he did, I wouldn't have said it.
Okay.
But no, we're really good at leveraging internally leveraging our own talents. So if somebody's really good on the dry cleaning side, and we see that they have a knack for something that may be helpful on the uniform side, there's some crossover there. But at the end of the day, we're all in one office. So from a culture standpoint, it's wonderful.
I'm going to remind you, most of them are probably going to see this, so be careful how you word this next question. But you've already mentioned it is difficult to work with family, and we've had several business owners come in here. A lot of them married, a lot of them life partners, etc. A lot of them family members, and it feels like there's we either don't talk to each other or we talk to each other about everything. Why has the family business been so successful, like keeping the family in it?
I don't think we'd be as successful at it as we are without my mother, quite frankly.
Sure.
She was
always a glue guy.
She was dinner table every night. We're sitting, we're eating, no exceptions. We don't let business get in the way of family. And that kind of...
What was your mom's name?
Donna.
Donna, we want to make sure you get your
God love you,
yeah,
Donna.
yeah.
If she wasn't that strong-willed person in all of our lives, I don't think we would get along as well as we do.
Sure.
But I think what makes our family really cool and really unique as far as how we work together is everybody knows who's good at what.
Sure.
And everybody kind of plays in their sandbox, and we collaborate daily. I spent 30 minutes this morning just chatting with dad, brother, all in the same office, and we were talking through the big things that are bad, the big things that are good.
The Jays win.
Right. The Jays win. Yeah, the Jays win dominated probably the first 15 minutes of it as we all got over our hoarse voices.
Sure. I'm right there with you.
But, that environment is awesome. And when we have disagreements and we have disputes, I don't know if we ever went to therapy about it, but for whatever reason, we got lucky that we all communicate very well and articulate our thoughts on things. And at the end of the day, we make decisions as a block.
It sounds like a lot of what you've just discussed here and pointed out was delegation. Is that something that you feel like is one of your strong suits?
Delegation was not one of my strong suits.
Is it today, though?
It is today.
How'd you get there?
Help of brother and dad.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a doer. I like to get stuff done. I
got that from you in the first few minutes. That's why this conversation going the way it is that's why the tone of surprise is in my voice.
Not a control freak, but a little spastic. If I hear something and I think I could help or I could fix that, I jump in.
It's fun.
Yeah, it is exactly. It's my superpower and also my weakest thing. Right.
I'm right there with you.
And so over time, added responsibility. Your plate gets too full. And my oldest brother's a master delegator.
Sure.
And he kind of helped me go. It's not being a boss, it's thinking about the most efficient way to do something. And so let's list everything out and figure out who's going to do what.
Right.
Versus, I know I could do all of these things, let's get them done.
And I think that's a lot of a problem for new business owners is they're the owner. They're starting the company. I have to do all of this. When you start adding employees or family members or whoever it is, I think it's really difficult for people to take the hand off the wheel. Was that a struggle for you at the beginning? And what made you better about that as your time at Maxwell Walker's gone along?
I wouldn't say a struggle for me to do. I've always felt comfortable. We have such a good team.
Yeah.
I always felt comfortable handing something off, right? And I know everybody, right? These people have known me since I was 5 years old.
And one of them's been there for 60 years, so he probably knows a thing or two.
Yeah. My wrestle in my head was about proving that I can do it versus delegating it.
Sure.
So I always thought, well, if I haven't shown that I can do it first, then nobody's
can't
going to
ask
want to
somebody
follow
else
me,
to.
right?
Yeah.
And so over time, that becomes easier because you have earned your respect and you've earned your title and all those sorts of things. It has to be conscious in your mind. If you make it to 5 generations, everybody has to put in their work. And everybody has to start at the bottom. Now, was my track to the top a lot faster than most people's? Absolutely. That's family business. But you better believe I rolled mats and I folded towels and I pressed shirts and I worked on a counter. And so towards the end of that, it became, all right, we have to let that go. Everybody should know that you can do everything.
Right.
Now it's time to help them do everything more efficiently.
15 Maxwell Walkers in just the Omaha area. Why was that the right number to grow to at this point? How did you get there?
And correction, we're at 11 right now. I think 15 is probably a good number.
Google's a liar.
To get to, and Google can be misleading. I would encourage you to go to our website if you wanted to see our locations in each one. We were as big as 45 locations within 20 years from now.
Oh, 2 of them are listed as the same place. Sorry. So yes, 11. You're correct.
Probably counting our uniform offies and depots and things of this sort.
I believe your headquarters. So
yep, and we have offices in Lincoln for uniform and that.
Sure.
But prior to 0809, we had 45 stores. And then we went to 22 in 0809. And then COVID happened. And it became increasingly clear at that time that the dry cleaning market had fundamentally changed. Look at the way you and I are dressed.
Yeah.
It's not what it used to be. It's an event-driven.
Is that a shot at my clothes?
No.
I'm totally
As long as it's Creighton, it's good with me. We got to celebrate the big win. But it's an event-driven business by and large now. So weddings and funerals and Christmas parties that are getting dressed up, that sort of thing. And because of that, the amount of locations you have need to be tactful. So you have to be in the right area. But we used to be every mile or every mile and a half, there was a Max Walker all over the town, everywhere. 5 in Council Bluffs, everywhere.
Tough decision to cut back? Or was it the time period dictated enough? Because obviously, 08, housing boom.
Yeah.
2020, global-wide pandemic. Two things that'll usually make you tighten your belt a little bit. Was it as simple as this is so obvious we have to, or was it tough to pull out of those neighborhoods and lose those connections that close-knit?
Yeah. Was it simple from a business perspective? Yeah, it was. I could look at that and understand that that's what was going to happen.
Dollars make sense.
We had to. It tore at my heartstrings. It really did. I had to go and lay off 37 people in one day, and I wasn't going to let anybody else do that. That's not a delegation thing.
Yeah.
And I gave them severance, and I gave them all the information, and we gave them an opportunity to come to our office. We helped them file for the short-term employment,
Sure.
and we ongoing communication. Set up through our company with all ex-employees of how do you navigate through COVID? How do we get these dollars that are now coming, as the federal government was starting to unleash stuff,
things like that, yeah,
all that, and that was the hardest day that I've had, and I hope it's the hardest day I ever have as a business owner, because that was incredibly difficult. But from a business perspective, not difficult at all, and it's been extremely beneficial to our business, to the health of our business.
Sure.
Having the amount of locations we have now has been great, and it's just fundamentally changed.
Sure. We're catching up with Casey Walker of Backside Walker here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractors Studio. I want to talk about the pandemic for a minute because one question I asked a ton when we first started doing this, and I've kind of stopped, because it feels like it was a whole lifetime ago. Is there anything other than what we obviously just talked about that Backside Walker learned through the pandemic that may have been looked at as a negative at the time that you still use today that's a benefit for the company?
The obvious of trimming. We got much more efficient during COVID. We got much more efficient. I would say the lesson learned from me through COVID is that if you can remain calm and diligent and collaborative, your team can accomplish anything. And we went through hell. I mean, just the day-to-day of how are we going to accomplish this stuff safely, that fostered an energy within our company of collaboration and teamwork that I hadn't seen, and I don't think we would have seen if that wouldn't have happened. So
the call to action.
The pressure made the diamond.
Sure.
And so I'm thankful for that. I really am. Was it difficult? Yes. Would I want to do it again? No.
Right.
but it was a useful exercise for us all to know that we can overcome anything together.
Is there anything that Maxi Walker doesn't do that people have a misconception that you guys may provide as a service?
Not really.
Okay.
So, on the dry cleaning side, we'll do your home You can't bring your clothes into us and use our washer.
Sure.
But you can bring your clothes into us, and we'll do your socks and underwear and t-shirts for you.
Can I ask why that was never a thought? Maybe it has in the past been a thing because my aunt and uncle all owned a laundry business for a long time, and it was coin operated, etc. Why you guys never went that route and was strictly always dry cleaning versus an option for a washer dryer option?
It's a difficult business.
Very much so.
You have a lot more competitors in that space. Everybody in their home that has a home washer and dryer, they're your competitor.
Sure.
Every apartment building gets built. If they put a washer and dryer either in the basement or on every floor or even in the unit, that's a competitor. And then there's tons of other coin-operated laundries. Yeah. And the smaller the organization when it comes to a coin-operated laundry, probably the better the laundry is. If you own and operate your own coin laundry and that's where you're showing up to work every day, it's going to be incredibly clean.
Right.
It's going to be well-run. You're going to have relationships with the people that come through the door. That's difficult to do at scale.
Yeah.
And we look at things like, if we're not going to do it better than everybody else, we're not going to do it at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is next for Maxi Walker?
Next is growth on the uniform side. We have a depot in Lincoln. I would love nothing more than to come back here in 10 years and talk about how we're in 6 states.
Might have you back before then.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'd get it done in that amount of time.
Sure. How do you grow the uniform side? Because I think like we just kind of talked about at the beginning, it's something that you got to grow the brand awareness that you guys offered, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What are the next steps in growing that process?
Number one, obviously, is a great sales team. And we have a great sales team. And if you're going to grow into a market, you have to go out well in advance, get your name out there, form relationships with communities, and start building that foundation to then go into that market to serve them.
Yeah.
But I would say the biggest key to that is our relationships with current customers. So name recognition goes a long way in this industry. In the uniform industry, if
Goes a long way in any industry.
Correct. Yeah. But if somebody shows up every single morning, if the people we're serving on the uniform side, they have to have clothes in that locker room that are right and ready. Otherwise, if you show up for your job and you go into your locker and you don't have a shirt to wear today, how does it make you feel as an employee? Yeah. It's not good.
Not cared about.
Right. And it creates an issue for an entire company.
Right.
And so the fact that we're able to go in and fix those issues where there are those issues, and the fact that we do what we do so well, leveraging technology, RFID chips in all of our garments, we know exactly where everything is at all times. That piece helps us grow. So, our current customers say, "Hey, John just moved to this business in South Dakota, and they're going to start getting uniforms. Who should we call?" And we get the call, and we say, "Yeah, we'll go up there."
Over 300 5-star reviews on Google for Maxi Walker. Why is that such a big deal to you?
That's a big deal because those are B2B reviews.
Sure.
B2B reviews are hard. I mean, you go to any B2B website, and their Google reviews are not going to be 300, not for a company of our size. That shows just how good our people are, from the guy loading the washer all the way up to the guy delivering the clothes, the gal delivering the clothes, all the way up the food chain to their supervisors, to their bosses, and up the ladder, of the dedication of the customer. customers aren't going to go out of their way to review a B2B experience.
Sure.
It's not simple. It's, if you go to a restaurant and it's a wonderful experience, it's nothing for you to get on your phone and type it in and say, that was the best meal I've ever had. When it's a B2B service and we're there every week, you have to do something pretty spectacular for somebody to whip out their phone and say, hey, these people that come and service our bathrooms or whatever every week are doing an amazing job. I feel the need to take the time to write a review. I'm really, really proud of that number.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this. What does the ideal client look like if they're looking for uniforms, and what does that process look like?
Yeah. That's a large space. Sure. And so there's companies that do a lot of event linen or restaurants and napkins and that kind of stuff. That's not what we do. And the reason we don't do that is because, to my point about the coin-operated laundry,
right,
if we're not going to be the best, we're not going to do it. So we strictly do uniforms and all the ancillary items that go along with that, but that's the only arenas we want to play in. Our best market is automotive. So car dealerships and auto repair, small engine repair, anything in that world. I'm really proud that we've serviced Woodhouse, Baxter, Sid Dillon, H&H across the street, who I was saying hi to before I came over here.
You know a guy that can put some embroidered stuff on their shirts.
Yeah, exactly. I sure do.
Yeah.
We've been doing that business for 50 years. It's incredible, the longevity that we've had in that space. And it's because that's what we focus on and we do so well. But we've also grown a lot in food manufacturing. Palmer Candy up in South Dakota, or in Sioux City, rather does all the candy for Casey's and the off-label stuff for Walmart.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Massive company. Yeah, you would have never thought.
Even the Candy Fairy just doesn't show up.
Exactly. Yeah. We're really good in that space. Rotella's Bakery, been a customer for a very long time. We love doing food service uniforms. That's another area where we can really excel. And then the third would be light manufacturing. Certified Transmission, well-known Omaha company, rebuilds thousands of transmissions. They're one of our best customers, and we're really good in that space as well. So automotive, light manufacturing, food processing.
We're hitting the point of the show where we tend to shut her down for the day. Is there anything about Maxi Walker that we haven't mentioned that people should know about?
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like I've been talking for an hour, Jim.
It's only been 32 minutes. MaxiWalkerUniform.com, scrolling across the bottom of your screen. If you are interested in what Casey had to say and your business could benefit from the uniform service, check it out today. I appreciate you doing this, man. This is
thanks for having me on, Jim.
We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast. We're actually looking for a guest. In the middle of our interview, our guest tomorrow bailed on us. So if you're a business owner and would like to be on the show tomorrow, please get a hold of me. We'd love to have you on. Over 650 people watching today live. We appreciate all of you. Hopefully you join us tomorrow, and hopefully we have a guest for you. We'll talk to you then here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. We'll see you at 11.